Alpha.
Hi everyone, my name is Carlinn and I'm a travel and lifestyle content creator and influencer. Today I'm going to tell you guys all about editing and presets and why I love them. I'm going to be specifically talking about Lightroom presets for desktop and for mobile. As a photographer, I definitely have my own unique style when it comes to editing. On Instagram, I like having a very cohesive theme, kind of have all my photos have a very certain aesthetic, and this is also why I love Lightroom and why I love Lightroom presets. Back in the day, I used to use Photoshop, but I found it wasn't that easy, especially to edit bulk photos. I did have some Photoshop actions that I had created, but still my workflow, it just seemed to take much longer. So I moved on to Lightroom and I just haven't looked back. I still use Photoshop if I want to clean up images or add things, do composites. The last thing that you always have to remember when creating your own unique preset is that it won't work for every single photo. I know a lot of people buy presets online and then they're kind of disappointed when a certain preset doesn't work on a sunset photo, a very dark photo, an overexposed photo, and then they kind of get disheartened and they're like, I hate presets, I never want to use them again. Not all photos are the same, not all lighting situations, not all cameras are the same. So you have to keep that in mind when you're using presets. Even my own presets, I'll put it on a photo, sometimes it'll work perfectly. First time I don't have to change anything. Other times it might be a little bit dark or it might be a little bit orange, and usually it's such a quick fix just in the basic settings. I'm going to be editing some photos for you so you can see firsthand how easy it is to edit and to save a preset for desktop and for mobile. So I've been telling you guys how to actually create your own presets, but there are a few things that you need to keep in mind when creating them. So it seems pretty easy, but there are a few things that could potentially make your presets not as great as they could be. So I'm going to take this photo and show you guys, you can't actually see it's a photo except for over there, and show you guys what could go wrong when creating presets. So first off, we have a really dark image here. It doesn't really matter if you want to post this image because of the great quality. The dynamic range on the Sony is really great, so I can actually get back all the color I want and play around, get all the settings right for it to look great. But for a preset, this might not work out. I'm going to tell you guys why. Unless you state this preset or you only use this preset for extremely dark photos like this, it's really not going to work out on any other photos, because you'll have to up the exposure so much on every single other photo you'll use it on. It's going to be completely white, I'm pretty sure. So you don't want that. So first off, don't use dark photos to create your presets with. We are going to lighten this one up a little bit just so I can show you guys a few more things that you should not be doing. Okay, so that's the photo. You guys can see it does have some grain, not too much. We can definitely sort that out with things like the noise reduction, the luminance tool. So we can use that. This is another thing that you do not, another tool that you do not want to overuse. So for instance, for this photo, I might push it up quite a bit. On other photos, it will not look nice, but this goes for actually all the tools. With a photo that needs quite a bit of work, presets don't work as well, because on every other photo that has normal light, it looks overdone, over edited. You won't get a nice result from it. Then the next thing that we should not be doing when saving presets or when creating presets is cropping. So let's say I only want that little part of the image. Don't want all that sky, I want it really nice and close. So I'm cropping this image, but if you save your preset and you don't actually choose what to save, so let's say create a preset and you have everything, the transformations, the cropping, everything, and you create it, then every other picture you have, you will be cropping it, which might not be something you want to do to every single one of your images. It'll be really annoying if you crop it and you have to go fix it afterwards. So do not crop images that you want to create presets from. So next up is using graduated filters. Now I love using these, but I'll usually add them by myself. I will never add them to filters. Let's say I want this part of the sky to be a little bit lighter, not blue though. Let's take that away, move it down, maybe a little bit of pink and orange. And I also want to lighten it up a little bit, pretend there's some sun rays still popping out on the horizon. Lighten up the hair, the faces. Maybe we can dehaze a little bit. Add a little bit more lightness. So that's all good and well for your photo right now. But if you save that on your preset and you add it to any other photo, there will be a graduated filter on your photo somewhere, which is something that we don't want. The last thing that I would say is do not use any type of red eye correction or any type of cloning or healing on your photo and save it as a preset. For obvious reasons, this will also be on every single photo you use this preset with. So when creating presets, really try and stick to the basics, don't overdo it, and then you can always add it afterwards. Okay, so this is the photo that I'm going to be editing for you guys. It has some nice blue sky, some greenery, some color. It was taken just before sunset. You can see the sun is setting on that side, so there's a little bit of light coming in there, lighting up my hair, lighting up my dress. It's a really nice photo to edit and to make look a little bit dreamy, which is how I love my Instagram photos to look. So I'm going to do the quick edit and then I'm going to show you guys how to actually save it as a preset for desktop and as a preset for your mobile phone. So I always start at the top here with the basic settings. So this photo is pretty well lit. I'm still going to up the shadows a little bit. I always love downing the highlights. I always come back to the basic settings after I've done my colors and everything else, just to kind of go over and see where I can change everything a little bit more. I'll come back to the temperature as well. I like my photos to be more on the warm side than the cold side. I'll be coming back to the tone curve as well. So first off, I usually start with my colors. We are going to start off with the sky today at the top, so we're going to be going to the blue. I like my blues to be a little bit more on the turquoise side, but you guys see the sky is already pretty dark, and if I make the blue a little bit more turquoise, it's just a bit too much for me. So I'm going to down the saturation as well. Going to down that a little bit more till you get like a really nice tone. Next up, I'm going to be working with the greens. I'm going to change my greens. The yellow usually changes the greens a bit more than the green actually does. Over here I can do both, make it a little bit more greener. Just going to down saturation. This is the green color that I prefer for my Instagram photos. And then luminance up. That should be about right. Not going to change the colors a whole lot more. There's not really anything else I'm going to change over there. When it comes to split toning, Once again, making things a little bit more to the orange side, like a pinky orange hue to it. You guys can see it's already looking a bit dreamier, especially the light filtering in. The photo is pretty sharp. I don't need to sharpen it, but I'm going to reduce the noise. Even though there's no noise, I like having my skin, my hair, everything around me have like a smooth look to it. And then at the end over here, I am just going to be adding some grain. That's a little bit too much. The image size is not that big, so I don't need to add a whole lot of grain. Then I'm going to come back to my tone curve, and this is something I do with all my images. I put a point in the middle, another one in the middle over here. These are the shadows, these are the highlights. I don't really work with the highlights too much, but I do like having the shadows a little bit softer. So that's what I'm doing over here. A little bit more contrast and then a little bit softer. And then I'm going to go up to the top again, and I'm going to play around with these settings now that I have a better understanding or idea of the colors. There we go. Add that nice warmth to it. Maybe a little bit of contrast. And that would be my end result. Just going to copy these settings for now. I'm going to reset it. So you guys can see that's what I started off with. And if I paste my settings, that is what I would be posting on Instagram. So if I wanted to save this preset, maybe I have more photos from this specific shoot or this set, or a shoot that's pretty similar to it, and I would like to use this preset again, it's really, really easy to save. So I've done everything I wanted to my picture. I go onto the side here where it says presets, create a preset, very easy. I can create a new group. So we'll just type in preset for Instagram. Create that. We can name it Lion's Head preset. It's Lion's Head in the background over there. Create the preset, and there you go. Now you will find it over here. As you guys can see, I have a lot of presets. This is presets for Instagram, Lion's Head preset. So let's reset, and then one click and you have that preset. Now, if you actually want to use this for your mobile phone, it is just as easy to do. So all we need to do is right click on your image. You go down to export. You look over here for export to DNG. That is what you want to do. Then I'll go to my desktop, Lightroom presets, DNG, and I will press open or click on open. So it doesn't have a name over there, but obviously you can rename it as Mobile Lion's Head preset. And all you have to do is email that to yourself or send it over AirDrop and add it to your mobile Lightroom, and I'll show you guys how to do that as well. Coming back to this preset, now if you want to export that to save it and maybe send to someone else or even sell it, you can just go over there, export Lion's Head preset. We can put it into the desktop folder and save it. There we go, easy as that. See you next time, guys.